Among the many wonders of the East Coast is its fresh seafood. From sea to market to restaurant, more than $350 million worth of shellfish are brought in each year. But it's the scallops that make the New Bedford fishing industry so lucrative.
The scallop industry is the most profitable fishery in the United States, and it is centered here in New Bedford. There are other ports on the East Coast that have scallop boats and the land scallops, but most of it is landed here. And about 80% of the landings, New Bedford's landings, are attributable to scallops. So scallops are New Bedford's cash crop.
New Bedford has one of the best industrial working waterfronts with services that completely support marine businesses like fishing. These services include fueling, icing, seafood harvesting, offloading, processing, and more.
The Port of New Bedford generates about $11 billion in direct and induced economic output every year and supports the jobs of nearly 7,000 people. We have all the things that support a fishing economy here to a degree that's far greater than anything else on the East Coast.
The city of New Bedford is home to the nation's wealthiest fishing port. With changes in the fishing industry, it has become the dominant port on the East Coast. But New Bedford is evolving. It is now a leader in a new clean energy initiative as well.
The American offshore wind industry is about to launch from here in about a month from the New Bedford Marine Commerce Terminal. The first Vineyard Wind is the first industrial scale offshore wind project in the U.S., one that will be followed by many others in the next several years. How that industry interacts with commercial fishing will affect both of them greatly.
Offshore wind power uses the force of winds out at sea to generate energy onshore. And it's done by using big wind turbines like these. Because the Port of New Bedford is fully supported by shoreside services for commercial fishing, it has the capability to develop the offshore wind industry too.
In New Bedford, we want to be a leader in both industries because I think that's necessary for our city to thrive in the long run as a place where maritime industries can grow together. Not everybody sees it that way, but as the mayor, I look for ways to attract investment here so that we can grow jobs for our residents so they can live a good life.
Fishermen are concerned that the wind turbines will negatively impact the fishing industry. With commercial fishing at the core of New Bedford's economy, there are concerns regarding both industries cohabitating.
I was adamantly opposed to having them offshore, to be honest with you. I don't feel it's a good environment for them. I don't think it's going to be very long-lasting because of the weather and all the situation with the salts and everything else. I think it's going to be real problematic for them. Plus, it's parking these towers right in the areas where these boats fish.
At the New Bedford Port Authority, leaders in economic development discuss the city's future.
We're very excited in New Bedford to be the host of the first commercial scale offshore wind deployment, Vineyard Wind 1, which will be a 62 turbine offshore wind development 15 miles south of Martha's Vineyard.
Many of these offshore wind turbines would be placed in some of the most lucrative fishing areas. Offshore wind's interaction with the fishing industry has raised concerns and controversy for many commercial fishermen that policymakers have addressed.
We have a real vested interest in making sure that that industry is not negatively impacted by the development at sea of the offshore wind. Because we're first in wind and we're first in fishing, there's no port in the country that has more at stake or is more interested in getting that right than the Port of New Bedford.
Prominent members of the community discussed the culture and importance of New Bedford's fishing economy.
I think the fishing community is super important to the city of New Bedford. My grandfather was a fisherman. He was a fisherman. He actually migrated from Portugal here. He fished for, I would say, about 35 years. And he was just the best. It touches my heart having a fisherman in the family.
Because the fishing industry is at the heart of New Bedford, is there room for an emerging offshore wind industry?
We were once known as the city that lit the world when we were whalers. And now I told people at times, I said, we could be the ones doing it again here, being a city that helps light the country. but I don't want to see the fishing industry harmed by it. I like to see it, find some way to work together and both succeed.
The whole city of New Bedford has front row seats to see how this clean energy plan rolls out. The goal is to create 30 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030, without affecting the city's most lucrative industry. For Media Milwaukee, this is Dominique Hamilton.